right, now I am going to get some things out that I'm going to hang up in my spare room because I like to, it saves energy, and so I don't have to run the dryer, and I like the way things come out if I just hang them out, for some things anyway. The dryer on some settings gets pretty hot, so I don't want things to cook in the dryer. I mean, I can change that to some extent.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything that I think is going to suffer that way, I pull out, like some underwear. That scarf actually can stay in. I have a sheet in here that's going to stay in.
Why wouldn't you just buy clothes that you don't have to take out?
That I don't have to take out?
Yeah. Like, what if you looked for clothes that you could just not
If
separate?
they were wrinkled, I wouldn't care?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Well, because that's not a style that I like.
Well, there are some things that don't wrinkle, right?
Well, I mean, the things that I'm concerned about, not only wrinkling, but also shrinking. Shrinking really is more of a big thing. But I also don't want to spend a whole lot of time ironing. I don't like to iron, so I try to keep ironing to a minimum.
Yeah.
So that's another issue with the fact that I can just kind of shake some things out and hang them up. As you will see, do you want to see my little system for hanging things up?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
It all worked out. Okay, so I have this closet, this wonderful closet that I've set up for this purpose, really. So I have some little plastic hooks there, and so I'm going to hang underwear up there.
And you do this every time you do laundry?
Yeah, I do.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to put some socks there that holds socks. I'm going to turn my shirt here right side out, which I turned inside out because I didn't want the nice applique there to get messed up.
That makes sense.
And of course I'm only doing laundry for myself, so it's not like I'm having to do it for a lot of people. I might have a totally different system if that were the case.
Oh, yeah. Do you think that doing it this way would be impractical?
It might. It very well might, even for two people. I don't know, but for me it works perfectly, and that's the important thing. So I've got all these things here that I just hang up. Still more in there, so I'll go back and get the rest of it.
Sure. I before we started doing this, I thought about, it's like I could be helping you. That's not my role.
No, that's okay. It's not a big deal. So, these are the things that I am going to put in the dryer. I have a bottom sheet. I've already washed the top sheet, and I have a pillowcase. Make sure nothing's caught up in the sheet, which often happens. Okay, so this goes back in. And the other things that I'm going to dry go back in. They tell you to dry less things than you've washed anyway, because the dryer is the weakest part of this system, this 2-in-1 system. If you overstuff it, it doesn't like it, and it will not do a good job in drying. Things, will still be wet. Some things will still be damp, even though it tumbles it. So that's one reason why I've sort of gotten in the habit of taking things out and just hanging them up, as well as being, being
Interesting.
conserving resources. Okay, gonna start it.
Did you
Push it hard
did you
enough.
change the setting to drier?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what I will do here is go over here to the dry, and I think I'm gonna put it on normal. I have the option of normal, damp, low temperature, more time setting. And again, as usual, it has much more stuff than anybody ever uses, which just makes it confusing. But
In your head,
talk about design. Ugh.
in your head, what is your understanding of the different things?
Okay,
What do
well,
you think's going on inside?
yeah, it gives you more. I only use if I have dried things and they it really needs more time. So I have not set it in a way that's the best kind of setting for what I'm doing. Normal usually does a pretty good job, but it does use more heat. Damp I never use because, you're drying. Why do you even want damp? I don't understand that setting. It's got a low temperature setting, which I often use. I use that more than anything else. But it takes about 4 hours to
Wow.
dry a load. It just takes forever. Normal will be less than that. We'll find out when I push the button. I forget how much, and it may depend on how much is in there. And the time settings, too, I have not found very helpful. It's very hard to gauge, how much time you're going to need for any one particular load. So I push that, and I push that, and the little drawing symbol there. Now it says 4 hours and 20 minutes. It doesn't really mean that. At some point it will change because the normal setting does not take as much time as the low temperature. But it's it'll dry, and it'll do what needs to be done. So
Have you ever had a time where you load it up to a certain amount and it washes it effectively, but then it's too much for the dryer to handle?
Well, I think I've probably always paid attention to the instructions, which say always take part of it, a wash load out, and don't try to dry as much as you have washed, because it will not do a good job. My biggest concern and my biggest annoyance has been that on the normal setting it uses such a high heat that things get sort of almost cooked, and wrinkles get really baked in.
Yeah.
So I don't use that as often as I do the low temperature setting, which takes longer but doesn't have that effect.
Do you wish there was an in-between? Where it was maybe cut somewhere half between the sort of high heat and the...
Well, that might be a good thing. What they need to do is take out some of what's there, I guess. It's just, again, like so many machines that are designed today, it's trying to do everything for everybody, or make every single possible combination of things that you might want done as an option.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many people use that?
No.
It's just...
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's locked now. It's spinning around, and we'll see how long it takes. But
It's very quiet.
well, it is right now. But wait, it's just getting started now. See, it's spinning.
Okay.
But it's not really doing what it will do in terms of the actual drying process, which you will see is actually pretty noisy at times. Depending, again, it can get a little bit off balanced if you have things like sheets or towels in there. And then it kind of makes a racket, but I've never had a problem with it getting so off balance that it's, stopped. Or I have to call maintenance.
Okay. Now, I noticed that you mentioned that you like to follow the directions of all the rules about the drying and the load size, but not with putting the detergent in. That's something that, there are measurements, and there is a prescription for the amount that you're supposed to put in, and you put it below the threshold so it's not too sudsy.
Right.
But you're very sort of.
Yeah.
I saw you pour it in, and you just put the cap down, and a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think is the difference in your mind between one thing needs the rules to be followed and one
It's
not?
how many years you've lived and how many times you've done that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's really just, you just learn. You just kind of know. I mean, it's like cooking in some regards. There's some things you don't have to follow a recipe because you've done it enough that you just know what the right amount is going to be. So I think it's the same kind of thing.
Do you feel like the detergent portion is an aspect of doing your laundry that has not changed very much from machine to machine and through time?
Actually, it has changed because back in the day, you had to use a lot more, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The way the washing machines were designed, and probably the way the detergents were formulated.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, the liquid detergent is something that is a newer development. I mean, many years ago, your choice was one powder or another powder. Basically, it was all powder,
mm-hmm.
and it came in cardboard boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, they went to a liquid formulation, and then the latest thing is that it's not only liquid formulation, but it's a low suds, and there's another name for it. I forget exactly what they call it, but it's something that they really do emphasize that you have to be very careful not to overfill.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you have to consider that even within that construct, people are selling liquid detergent. So if they can get you to use what they consider the optimal amount without it actually causing a problem, they're going to sell more. But if it turns out that you can use less than that and get the same results, then it's to the consumer's benefit.
Have you ever used too little?
Too little? Not that I know of, and I don't know how I would even check that. Because how would you know? You could, I guess theoretically you could wash clothes just in water and you would certainly get some cleaning. You might not get them as clean as you would want, but...
What if you used half as much as you used just now?
Well, I think that's probably what I'm doing. I think I'm probably using half as much. I haven't gone to the time and effort to determine that, to test what is the amount that they say I should be using versus my sort of just eyeballing it.
What if you could use less than you even used?
Oh, well, I'm not sure I could get much lower than what I'm using.
Now, why do you find that it's important to use follow the directions for the other stuff that's more specific to this machine?
Oh, because otherwise, how am I going to get the machine to work? These machines are not particularly consumer friendly or intuitive.
Okay.
Just look at it. Would you necessarily know that first of all you have to push this button, and then you have to turn that dial, and then you have to push that button? There's nothing there to tell you that at all.
No.
And then when you get over to the drying cycle, you have to come over onto this side, and you've got all kinds of options here. I don't remember what these are. You've got a spin speed, a wash rinse, and then you've got this dial. When I first tried using this, I didn't even realize you had to turn the dial. I thought you had to push it in somehow.
You still did push it.
Well, I did push it, but that's just because I wanted to make sure it was right where it needs to be. But you don't. You turn it one way or the other to get it set on whichever setting you want it on.
Have you ever used those 4 buttons on the bottom?
No.
Options, spin speed, wash, rinse.
I've never used those.
Do you ever use this to figure out what's going on?
No, that changes based on where you've set it over here. I just look to make sure that of the 4 icons here, the one that is the first one for drying is flashing.
Okay.
If that's not, then I somehow have set it wrong and I have to figure out why.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And you use the timer as well to tell you how much time is left?
No,
you use this number, or no, it's not reliable?
Right. I mean, it says 4 hours and 14 minutes now. I don't think it's going to take that long. Plus, when it gets to a certain point in the cycle, it will change, but then it's not reliable, because you'll come back 10 minutes later and it's either on the same thing, or maybe it's gone down 1 minute or something when it's been 10 minutes since the whole thing is I think badly designed for just an ordinary person like me to wash clothes and dry them. But I also like having it right here in my apartment, not having to go out to the communal washroom, so I don't complain.
Do you feel like the other machines are easier to use? Have you ever used them?
I think they are. Yeah. They're the big, more industrial type machines, and I'll use them every now and then if I'm having company and I have a lot of sheets and towels to wash.
Yeah.
Then I will go out there and use one, but that's really about the only time anymore.
Yeah. Do you feel like the brand, if you were to buy another washing machine, would you buy an LG?
Well, first of all, I don't buy this because it comes with the apartment. So,
yes.
Yeah. But if I had a choice, would I want another brand? I don't know. As I said, this 2-in-1 has advantages, but being intuitively easy to use is not one of them. But I haven't investigated any others, so I really don't know how they would compare.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I've been here 6 years and it's done a good job for me, so I really can't complain.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did I see you got the sensitive skin and Arm & Hammer?
Yeah.
Is that what goes into that decision?
I like the Arm & Hammer brand. Baking soda fresh. I mean, how can you not like that, right? Plus, gentle on skin. I like the sensitive skin because it doesn't have perfume in it, and I don't like perfume in my laundry detergent. So it's just one that, and it comes in a size that is convenient for me.
Yeah.
Some of the sizes, and they do make a larger one, but this will last me a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be lugging home a great big huge bottle.
That's funny, because for me, that doesn't go into my decision making at all, because I can carry all the bottles.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't consider that.
Yeah.
I look at all of them and I think, well, if I get the big one, it's a little cheaper.
It is. Yeah.
Per load.
Right. Yeah.
So I get that.
Right. But for me, I have more. I have relatively limited space. So I'm willing to pay the little bit of extra, whatever it is, to get the size that I like. And I almost always get this brand because it's just always done what I need for it to do.
What is it about baking soda?
Well, it might just be marketing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, baking soda is a tangible thing.
Arm & Hammer makes baking soda.
Yes.
So that's their primary product, and it's a good product. And then at some point in time, they got into laundry detergent. I have no idea about that history, but you know, I just feel like it's a reliable product that I can count on, and
Yeah.
it's not, you know, it's not super expensive, or
Yeah.
it's just kind of along with every other one.
Yeah. You remember in that alchemy book they talked about brands,
Mm-hmm.
especially in sort of Soviet Russia, where it's, you know, if you have a brand that you know
Right.
what you're getting is reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know, marketing is the good things about marketing. I mean,
It serves a
Yeah.
function. It's not
Yeah.
just all
Yeah.
fluff.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you can focus on the fluff. You know,
Right.
if you're selling
Yeah.
you a piece of junk.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Great.